Imagine you're already late for work. You forgot the Moka-pot is boiling. You cannot do it again. And you cannot risk losing your job. Or let's say that you're still figuring out the new grinder. Your grind size is too fine and your pour over is way over extracted. Also, the most common issue, finding out the hard way that your beans are old and stale. If you experience any of these scenarios, then salt might be what saves your morning. But here's the question we all need an answer for. Does it really work? The best way to find out is trying. Let's go! It is common to add salt to sweet recipes to enhance sweetness. This is because salt, specifically sodium, blocks the bitterness receptors in our tongue. Don't get me wrong here. Bitterness in coffee is not a bad thing. Excessive bitterness might be, although it all boils down to preference. However, there are some instances where adding salt to your coffee can actually be a good idea. And to test it, one of these cups has salt in it. Later in the video, he will choose which one is the best coffee. Stay with me here. How much salt are we gonna use in this experiment? Food science expert Alton Brown suggests adding 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt to every 6 tablespoons of ground coffee. That's a very small amount, so for this experiment, I'm gonna use what everyone will call a pinch. Let's start by trying to improve a burnt Moka-pot coffee. And if you wanna brew great coffee using a stovetop, one that doesn't need salt, you can watch my video about it after this one. I suggest that when you try this, you start with the smallest amount possible so that you don't end up with a salty coffee instead. Alright, here's the burnt Moka-pot test. Let's see which one is actually better.
Alright, this one first. Yeah, this one is like a bit burnt. I like this one better. Less bitter, a little bit of sweetness, and zero burn. Is this one?
Okay, that's salt. Nice. Next is a pour over extraction using this V60. And to make it bitter enough, I'm just making all the mistakes I mentioned in this video. So save it for later if you want to avoid these mistakes and start making better pour over coffee. And before we continue, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to enjoy more content like this. I'm representing each one of you as a happy being in this Chemex here, and I really love to see how this community is growing.
This is the one with salt, right? Yeah, this is really strong, but this is salty. I will not drink any of this.
But who decided that adding salt to coffee was a good idea? Actually, this practice has been around for centuries now. In some Scandinavian countries, they have been brewing salted coffee for years. People with access to brackish water, which is the mix of salty and fresh water where the river meets the ocean, they put it to good use, especially when they're using low-quality coffee. For the following test, I'm using the oldest bag of beans that I could find. These have been around for more than 2 months already. I strongly suggest that you save this video to watch later and discover the 7 secrets of coffee making that every barista needs to know. That way, you will never find yourself in a situation like this.
This one smells strong. Next one. Only do this with the Moka-pot. Maybe less salt on this one. Can you try like adding just a small pinch to this one? I'll take this off. This is saved. Not the best. I didn't like it before. This is pure salt, but now it's like I will drink this one.
Well, as you can see, it seemed to work for the Moka-pot. Didn't do a lot for the pour over, and potentially can fix espresso made with stale beans. But I'm not done here. There's something else I wanna try. You will be surprised by this. I wanna see if it can fix instant coffee. For every coffee enthusiast, this is actually a crime I'm about to commit. This is blasphemy and atrocity. But apparently, Adding salt can actually improve instant coffee. We're about to find out how true that statement seems to be. Obviously not a blind test. I'm gonna know which one I'm adding salt to. Goodness gracious, the smell of this thing. Maybe a little bit more. Let's try out atrocity number 1. To think there are people that do this every single morning. Let's go here. That's quite impressive. Okay, so the taste remains the same. The flavor notes, which are basically non-existent, remain the same. But the aspect of bitterness is essentially erased. It's actually decent. Like, if you find yourself in a situation where you only have access to instant coffee, by all means, add some salt to it. It actually makes it, I'm not gonna say enjoyable. Don't get me that far, but at least something you can actually drink. I totally recommend that you try this out and have your next cup of salty coffee watching any of these videos. Just let me know how it goes for you. Yeah, that's actually enough for me. See you next time.